is the Edmodo Training for Touchpoints. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the goals this year by using Edmodo and then go through some how-tos, basic how-tos to help everyone kind of get started and get comfortable with Edmodo. So to start off, let's talk a little bit about what we're hoping to achieve this year with Edmodo. The focus for Touchpoints this year is really to try and enhance the interactions between the students and the classes. The wikis that we've used in the past were a useful tool for classes to have a central location to be able to post information and view it, but they really lacked the ability for the students to have any kind of valuable conversation or interaction using the wiki as a tool. So this year with Edmodo, we're hopeful that the students will be a little bit more excited about using Edmodo, that it will be a little bit easier for the students to use, a little bit easier for the teachers to use, and that it will create more opportunities for the students to connect, for them to interact, and for them to have a little bit more opportunity to exchange information. And then as an added layer, we'll have video, our video conference system, which we hope the students and teachers will take advantage of to have some live connections during their Touchpoints activities and have those conversations and exchange information. So right now, Central Services is working on setting up a Meritas Edmodo district, and we're hoping to have that site active within the next 2 weeks. And it will kind of serve as an umbrella over all of the Edmodo accounts within Meritas, so we'll have a subdomain set up for each school. Teachers can go ahead and set up their Edmodo accounts now, and you can set up your student accounts. And then once the Meritas district site is ready, we'll send out a notice so that everybody can join that site. You'll receive a code and be able to join the site, and anything that you've set up within your account prior to that will remain intact. Your Edmodo account is tied to your email address, so even if you join a new district, all of that data and work that you've done within your account will be transported into the Meritas district with your account. Once we get that set up, I'll also be setting up a community group on Edmodo for each grade level. So we'll have one for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, where the teachers from that grade will each join, and it'll give us an opportunity to share information, best practices, post some questions, and provide updates across the grades, so that if you have an assignment that you're having trouble with in the past, people have emailed me, and then I've tried to reach out to the different teachers. With this community, you can just post something to that group, and then the different teachers can respond with how they've handled it or their questions, and it'll hopefully just open up the lines of communication a little bit this year. As far as Touchpoints groups, the way this will work is one teacher from each teacher pairing will create the group for their Touchpoints groups. So the rosters that I sent out, there's a column with the group name for you and your partner teacher, and the way we would like everybody to name their groups this year is 2013 TP grade, and then the team number. So if I'm 6th grade team 1, my Touchpoints group name would be 2013 TP 6th grade 1. Once the one teacher from the pairing creates the group, a code will be created that you can then share with the partner teacher, and then all of your students from both classes will be able to join that group. It's important that the teacher who creates the group adds their partner as a co-teacher, so that that teacher will also have all of the administrative capabilities that the creator teacher has, and I will show you how to do that here in a few minutes. As part of using Edmodo, they require that we secure permission from parents so that we can allow the students to use the site. So I'll be sending out a letter to everyone to send home to parents, letting them know that we'll be using Edmodo. It'll have links to their Edmodo privacy policies and terms of agreement that the parents can review if they would like, and then those parents will sign the letters and return them to the schools, and those letters should be returned to the Touchpoints coordinators for now to be kept on file. And I know some schools are already using Edmodo or other online tools, so you may already have a process for this in place, and we'll try to work within that process as much as possible so we're not duplicating efforts. So if it's something that you've already sent home, parents have already reviewed and signed off on, you don't need to do it again. So as far as setting up Edmodo accounts, like I said, the teacher accounts are tied to your email address. So even if you already have an Edmodo account set up and we adopt you into the Maritas district, you're not going to lose anything, any content that you've set up within your account. So I'm going to show you quickly how you can set up the different accounts. So if you're a teacher, you come here and you click on I'm a teacher, and then you enter your information, your first name, last name, your email address, you set up your password. Here's where Edmodo requires you to agree to the terms of service and the privacy policy, and then you click sign up and your account is set up. For students, you would come here and click on I'm a student. And in order for a student to sign up for Edmodo, they have to have a group code. So that group code is what will be generated when you create your Touchpoints group, which I'll show you here in a few minutes. So the student would have that group code from the teacher. They'll enter their username. We're not going to dictate how usernames are set up for students. So we do recommend that you try to keep this uniform across the schools, and we recommend that you not use the student's full name. Maybe first initial, last name, and the school identifier, but we'll leave that up to each individual school and teacher to kind of determine what works best. The student will create a password. Email is optional. They do not have to have an email to have an account. They'll enter their first name and last name, and again, here's where they and their parent have to check and agree that they have agreed to the terms of service and the privacy policy, and then click sign up and their account will be set up. Parents can also set up an account under Edmodo, and they will also need a code in order to sign up. So I will show you where that code is located, but they'll enter their code here, their first and last name. They can put their relationship, the email, and the password, and again, agreeing to the terms of service. It's important to note that you can set up multiple accounts for parents. So if a mom wants an account and a dad wants an account to be able to follow their student online, they'll use the same parent code. What will differentiate and separate their accounts will be their email address. So I'm going to show you quickly where you can find the parent code on the student page. So if you log in as a student, a parent would be able to have their student log in and then come down here in the left-hand corner where it says parent code, and this is that student's parent code. So this is the code that the parent would enter when they go to sign up for their account, and which would allow them to track their students' online activity. So I'll log out of this account quickly. And now I'm going to log in as me, and I have set up a teacher account. So I will log in. Oh, maybe I will log in. All right, that worked. So the first thing I'm going to show you how to do, this is sort of the home page of Edmodo, and the first thing we're going to go over is how to create a group. So over here on the left-hand side under groups, you'll click on the plus icon and click create, and then type in the name of your group. So like I said, if I'm 6th grade team 1, I'm going to type in 2013 TP 6th grade number 1. Then you can enter the information, 6th grade, subject area, social studies, or whatever pertains to your school, and then click create. I'm not actually going to click create right now because I've already created my group, but once you click create, you would see the code generated, and I'll show you where that will show up. So I've already set up my Touchpoints group, so I'm going to come over here and click into my Touchpoints group. And here on the left-hand side again is where you'll see your group code. So that's the code that you would share with students for them to join your Touchpoints group. These codes are only active for a certain number of days, so you'll give that code to your students and then encourage them to join your group preferably as soon as possible, because after like 15 days these codes lock, and that's a security feature, so that if that code is floating around and a random person happens to come across it, they can't put that code in and join your group. So the code's locked. If you need to reset the code so that someone can join at a later date, you just come in here and click reset. It'll generate a new code, and they'll be able to join with that code. Anyone who's joined with the old code will still be in the group. This is just to allow new people to join the group. And then here across the top are some of the different ways you can communicate with people in the group. So to post a note, you would click here on note. You can type your note in here, so you can post reminders here or updates to let your students and other people in the group know what is happening. So say your meet and greet is next Tuesday, you can just say, post a note to say, remember our meet and greet is next Tuesday, so think of what you already know about biodiversity. You click here under send to, you just type the name of your group. My group name is Touchpoints. If you want to add a file, you can click here and upload a file. You can connect a link here. So if you have videos to post, say you've uploaded them to YouTube, you can put a YouTube link in here and share that as well. If you have documents in your library, which I'll talk about here in a little bit, you can post that. And you can also schedule. So say you want to go ahead and get the message ready, but you don't want it to send until Monday morning, you can schedule it to send on Monday morning. And then you click send, and your note will post down here in the feed and will show up in your students' feed as well for them to see. An alert is very similar to a note. The only difference is it shows up in bold. I don't think it really stands out that much differently than a note, so you can kind of use those interchangeably. You can also post assignments here. So let's say for the meet and greet, you want your class all to fill out a blank puzzle piece with a question that they have about the topic. So you can say, name your assignment, the meet and greet puzzle piece assignment. Here you're going to describe the assignment. So please fill out the attached blank puzzle piece with a question you have about biodiversity, and we will share these with our partner students for them to see if they can answer. So then you'll come down here to File and upload the assignment. So mine is the puzzle piece assignment, which I will upload. You'll set your due date here, so we'll set it for September 30th. If you had a link to share, again, you could post a link, something from your library, and then you click send. And then your assignment shows up down here in the feed, and it would show up in your students' feed as well. So they wouldn't see this turned in part, but they'll see the description, they'll see the due date, and they'll be able to open the attachment that you've posted. So they would be able to print this out or fill it out and then send it back to you via Edmodo or however you ask them to send it back to you. So that is how to use the assignment feature. You can also post quizzes. So if you want to post a few questions after the expert opinion or the great experiment to see what information the students learned or retained, you can create a quiz with different types of questions. They have true, false, multiple choice, fill in the blank. I don't know how much this will be used, but it's something that's there if you think it would be useful to encourage student discussion. And then another feature that I think will be interesting to use is the poll. So for the poll, you can type in different questions. So we'll be sending out a list of essential questions for each topic in the next week or so. This might be a good time to say, which essential questions do you find most interesting? And then type your essential questions here. Can second graders help protect the environment by themselves? What would happen if an entire species disappeared, like the honey bee, for example? So you could type out several questions and then type who you want to send the poll to. I'm going to send it to my Touchpoints group and click send. So this is what it looks like in your feed, but if I log out, I can show you what it looks like to the students so they'll be able to vote. So here you can see my poll's been sent out to my student Vivian. Which essential questions do you find most interesting? They can click and vote, and then you will get those results in your feed so you can kind of see which students are most interested in which aspects of the topic. So logging back into my account. So those are some of the features that you can use just to communicate and encourage class discussion, just using the features with Edmodo. Once I mentioned one teacher will create the group, and then the partner teacher will need to be added as a co-teacher. So in order to do that, you'll come into your group, and down here under members, you'll be able to see everyone who is in your group. So here you can see I'm the owner, and my co-teacher is Amy Frost, and then I have one student in my group named Vivian. So in order to change, if I can get my screen here, my partner teacher to a co-teacher, you would come over here to more, and your options are teacher, co-teacher, and read-only. So read-only would allow them to see the page, but they wouldn't be able to post or do anything. So if you click the co-teacher button, that makes them the co-teacher, and they'll have the same capabilities as the person who created the group. You can also come here and look at the student profile. So under the student profile, you'll be able to award badges, which is just sort of a recognition tool. Touchpoints has these kind of boilerplate badges already created, so good citizen, good question, hard worker. So you can use those, or you can also upload badges of your own. And I'll show you where to go to do that. But here you would be able to say the student did a great job on the great experiment. So you would click this and award badge, and then it shows up on their page as a recognition, so they'll be able to see what they've done. If you want to add badges, you would come into your group. Actually, to add badges, you would come over here to under progress and click on my student badges, and here you'll be able to see the boilerplate ones again. Here's the ones that I've added. In order to add a new badge, you'd go out and find any image that you want to use, click on add a new badge, name your badge. So great, or how about great questions for expert opinion. Your description is asked thought-provoking questions when we had our guest speaker. Then you would upload your image. Once it's uploaded, it'll show up here. You can choose to share the badge with other teachers or not. You click Create Badge, and it shows up in your created badges. Then you also have to come over and add the badge to your group. So you would click on Progress, click on your group, come here to your badges, and add your badge. to the group so that you can award it to students within your group. Then on this page you can kind of track all of the badges that you're using within this group and how many. I only have one student right now, but if I had 20 students, I would be able to look and see Vivian has these badges and Joe has these badges, so you can kind of track who you're giving badges to. You can also look at when you come into your group and look at your student profiles. You can see which assignments they've done. You can see the status of if they've turned an assignment in. You can grade the assignments within Edmodo if that's something you want to use. You can also see your students' activity. So Vivian hasn't posted anything at this point, but if she had posts, they would all be listed here. If she had replied to anything that I had posted, they'd all be listed here. So if you want to see student by student what they're posting, you can click into their member profile and see all of their activity. On your home page, you can also, if you have a student who has posted a comment or a reply that you want to take off of the page, you can come over here there will be a little gear that shows up, so you would click on that little gear and you'd be able to delete the post from the page. So you can control what shows up on your page. If there's comments from students, you can take those down if you want to. It's also important to note that students, when they're posting, they can post directly to you, the teacher, or they can post to the entire group, but one student can't post directly to another student. So they can only communicate directly with the teacher or to the whole group. And you'll be able to control anything that you think needs to come down off of the site. Under the Discover link, this is a place where you can come to search out resources through Edmodo. So say you're talking about biodiversity and you want to look up information about extinct animals. You can type in the topic you want to search, and it will take you to pages with information about what you're searching on. You can also, through Discover, come over to communities, and there's communities for all different subjects, so you can click into these communities and teachers post questions about, I have a unit coming up on biodiversity. Does anyone have any great assignments that they've used to work with their students on this? Or teachers will just share ideas that they've had. One link that I found that I thought was kind of fun was the newspaper clipping generator I found that somebody had posted to the community, where you can come here, you can create the name of your newspaper, you can set the date, you can type in your headline and then your story, and once you click generate, it'll generate a little real newspaper clipping that you could share. So I went ahead and created one newspaper clipping for my expert opinion. I just made up a story about where have all the honeybees gone and typed in a little bit of information about the honeybee population and that they're being affected by pesticides and other external factors. So it might be something kind of fun for students to make their own newspaper clippings, but those are the kind of links that you can find out on the community. And then lastly, I just wanted to show you quickly the library. So your library is kind of like your bookmark page. So as you come across sites that you want to use with your students that are helpful to you as you're going through the Touchpoints activities, this is where you can store those links. So if it's something you want to add to your library, if you have a document, you can upload a document and it'll show up here in your library. Or if you find a website that you want to keep in your library, you can click here to link and paste the website here into, so say you want to link to CNN, you can link to CNN. It populates the title for you if it's a site that it recognizes, and then click Add, And now CNN shows up here. So instead of having to go out and search CNN, I can find it right through my library. You can also, if you use Google Drive, which I think is a great tool for touch points for the classes to be able to create documents and edit them in one document versus working in separate documents, you can connect to your Google Drive account. I'm already connected, but if I wasn't, you would click Connect Google Drive, and it would come up with a screen for you to log into your Google account, and then it would be automatically linked. And then you can create documents that the students in both classes can work on. So say at the beginning of the year you want to talk about what you know about the topic, the students can all go into one document and type in what they think they know, what they think is important about the topic, or what they think is different about the topic in Phoenix versus in Orlando, and have it all in one document where they can see everything. So it's nice to be able to link to your Google Drive library if that's something that's important to you. And then lastly, I wanted to show quickly, under your profile, you come over here and you can click on your profile and see all of your information, so you can see any badges that you've created. Once we have our district site, we'll be setting up badges as well that we'll be able to award to teacher pages. You can see how many students you have, what's in your library, what communities you're connected to. And I would also encourage you to come here under settings, and over here on the left side, click on email and text updates. I have turned off all alerts from my account. If you don't go in and turn these off, every time a student or a teacher posts to your Edmodo group, you're going to get an email. So if that's what you want, leave these on. If you do not want an email alert every time, you can come in here and turn these off and click Save Updates. Under settings, you can also upload a picture and do other, kind of personalize your account. Lastly, I want to show you the Edmodo Help section. They have a great section that will be a great resource to anyone who's using Edmodo for the first time, or even if you've used it before and you're just not quite sure how to do something. You can come up to the search bar and type in how do I, and whatever you need to know how to do. You can also come down here to their links, and they have everything set up. So how to sign up, how to create a group. So say you want to know how to add a co-teacher to your group, you would come down here to groups and click on add a co-teacher, and then click on the topic again, and it shows you step by step where to click. It's got screenshots down below with exactly what to do in order to walk you through the process of what you need to know how to do. So as you are starting to use Edmodo or getting more familiar with it, if you have questions, I'm always here as a resource, but I would really encourage anybody to use the help section of Edmodo, because their resources and their step-by-step instructions are really great tools to kind of answer any questions that you may have. And then lastly, I'll be sending out an activity here in the next few days with just some kind of a checklist of things to go through on Edmodo to get everybody more comfortable with it. It's not something that you have to do. It's just some steps to kind of help get everybody started. So that's all I have for today. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And thank you for watching the training.